All right, welcome to 8th grade math. We're going to be doing 8.1 decimal operations notes. Our 8 is for 8th grade. Our 1 is for our unit. Let's take a look at our teeth. We are going to select and use appropriate operations to solve problems involving rational numbers and justify the selections. So let's take a look at our vocabulary. Product, an answer to a multiplication problem. So over here we're going to put an example. 3 times 4 equals 12. So our product is 12. Quotient, answer to a division problem. 12 divided by 6 equals 2. So our quotient is 2. Difference, answer to a subtraction problem. 4 minus 1 is 3. So our difference is 3. And sum, answer to an addition problem. 3 plus 1 equals 4. So our sum is 4. If you didn't get a chance to write that down, you can come up with your own, or you can restart the video, pause it, write it, do what you need to do. Our next section here, we're going to be adding and subtracting decimals. Steps to solve is what you really need to look at. I'm going to give you steps to solve for each concept through the entire 8th grade math. If you memorize these, it's going to serve you well because you're going to understand how to solve every problem that we learn. Number 1, when we're adding and subtracting decimals, we need to line up the decimal. Number 2, put zeros in for placeholders if needed. Number 3, we're going to add or subtract. And number 4, we're going to bring the decimal straight down. We also need to remember that we want it vertically. That means up and down. So we're going to rewrite our problem, making sure that we're lining up our decimals. This tells me we're going to add. Number 2, put zeros in for placeholders if needed. I needed one there. Now I'm going to go ahead and add. Step 4, bring decimals straight down. So what we're going to do is, here's our decimal. We're going to bring it straight down. So our answer to this problem is 3.54. The second one, let's go ahead and line up our decimals. We want to write this vertically. Put zeros in for placeholders if needed. In this case, we don't need it. Now we're told to add or subtract. We need to subtract. Here we're regrouping. Make sure you know that's still a decimal there. 7 and that's 6. Now bring decimals straight down. So here's our decimals. So our answer to this problem is 6.715. Make sure that you have that. If not, push pause. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is multiplying decimals. So here's our steps to solve. Number 1 says multiply. Number 2, circle the numbers behind the decimal. Ms. Tutt showed me how to do that a couple years ago. I thought that was great. And number 3, count over in the product and place the decimal. So let me show you what that looks like. Our first step is to just multiply. So this is 36, 20 plus 3 is 23, 4, 6. Second is to circle the numbers behind the decimal. I have one number behind the decimal. And step 3, count over in the product and place the decimal. So our decimal is understood to be here right now. We have one number circled, so we move it over 1. So 63.6 is the answer. Let's try our second example. Number 1 says multiply, so that's 2, it's 14, 6, 7. You can either put a 0 or an X here for a placeholder because we want to start our answers underneath this 2 in the tens column. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 7 is 14. Carry our 1. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. We need to add these together. Now, step number 2 says circle the numbers behind the decimal. We have 1, 2, 3. We know our decimal's right here until we move it. We have 3 numbers circled, so we move it 1, 2, 3 places to the left. So our answer to this problem is 8.162. It's pretty easy, right? I'm sure everybody knows how to do this. This should be just a review. Let's clear that up. All right, now we're going to divide decimals. Again, here's our steps to solve. And let me do this first. Dividend and divisor. If the divisor has a decimal, then move to make a whole number. Step 2, when the decimal, move the decimal in the dividend the same number of times. Step 3, bring decimal to the top. Step 4, divide. Okay, so let's see this in action. First of all, 17.5 divided by 2.5. Now some people get confused and think, how do we write this? Which one goes inside? Remember, this means divided by. So our 2.5 goes on the outside. Step 1, if the divisor, 2.5 in this case, has a decimal, then move to make a whole number. Step 2, move the decimal in the dividend the same number of times. So we move this once, we're going to move this once. Step 3, bring the decimal to the top. And step 4, divide. I like to rewrite my problem. I do not like to look at a mess. 25 can't go into 1, it can't go into 17, but it can go into 175. If you think of money, there's 4 quarters in a dollar, and there are 3 quarters in 75 cents. So 4 plus 3 is 7. So our answer is going to be 7. If you don't believe me, then let's try 25 times 7. This is 5, 3, and there it is. It checks. All right, now let's take a look at some word problems. We want to make sure that we're using UPSL. I'm going to read the problem first, and then I'll go back and start highlighting. Miss Tut made a call to Sweden that cost $6.77. The first minute cost $1.25, and each additional minute cost 92 cents. How many minutes was the call? Okay, so here's my question. How many minutes was the call? So what information do I need in order to solve this? Miss Tut made a call to Sweden that cost $6.77. That is our total. The first minute cost $1.25, so that was our first minute. Whenever you see a word that's written and it's supposed to be a number, go ahead and write that number above it so that you don't skip over that. So the first minute was $1.25, and each additional minute cost 92 cents. So the first thing I need to do to solve this is I know my total is $6.77. My first minute was $1.25. Well, I should say Miss Tut's first minute was $1.25. So the first thing I'm going to do is subtract. So this is 2, 5, 5, and we bring our decimal straight down. Here we go. So that was 1 minute. I'm going to go ahead and write that there. That's going to be important to note later. Now I have $5.50 left of the bill, and each minute costs 92 cents, I want to know how many minutes the call was, so I need to divide. Since we have a decimal over here, we need to move it over 1, 2 to make that a whole number. What you do out here, we have to do on the inside. We have to go 1, 2. And again, I'm going to rewrite my problem. I know that 92 is close to 100, so that would be at least 5, but let's try 6. Let's see 92 times 6 and see what that equals. That's 12, and this is 55, because it's 54 plus 1 is 5. So it goes in evenly 6 times. All right, so is our answer 6? Nope, that's 6 minutes, but we already had a minute over here. So we need to do 6 plus 1, which equals 7 minutes. Be careful, on the STAR test, CBA or unit assessment, if it has a problem like this and answer choice A, I'll tell you what answer choice A is going to be. It's going to be 6 minutes. Because they're banking on you forgetting that you've already got a minute right here. So you need to make sure you go back and you are answering the question. All right, our final example. I'll go ahead and leave that up there. I'll just write down here. Oranges cost 39 cents a pound. Apples cost 79 cents per pound. Mrs. T bought 4 pounds of oranges and 5 pounds of apples. How much money did she pay? Okay, so my question is, how much money did she pay? So now I'm going to highlight everything I need in order to solve this problem. We know that oranges were 39 cents a pound, and I bought 4 pounds of them. I'm going to go ahead and circle these two because they go together. Now I also know apples were 79 cents a pound, and I bought 5 pounds. So I'm going to circle these because they go together. There's 2 ways I can do this. 39 cents per pound, and I bought 4 pounds. I could do 0.39 plus 0.39 plus 0.39 plus 0.39, but I don't want to. There's a faster way. Multiply. 0.39 times 4. So this is 6, 3, 12, 15. Now, I'm going to circle behind my decimal. 1, 2, and then count over. 1, 2. So the first amount I have is $1.56. That's how much I paid for my oranges. Yay, I love oranges. Okay, next, I have 79 cents a pound, and I bought 5 pounds of apples. So this is 45, 39, and 3. Remember, I'm going to go back and circle the digits I have behind the decimal. I have 2, so I'm going to go 1, 2. So my total here is $3.95. That's what I paid for my apples. But it doesn't ask me how much I paid for my apples or how much I paid for my oranges. It says how much money did I pay. And it's assuming that you know that means all together. So when we have all together, we add. So this is 11. This was a 9 right here. So that's 15, 3, 4, 5. Now I bring my decimals straight down. So my total is $5.51. All right, make sure that you go on and you blog your summary to your Cornell notes. I hope this makes sense to you. Remember, you can go back and watch any of it anytime.